So a number of years ago when I was still living in New York, I remember I was with a group of friends and we were out at a bar and we were having a good time, having some drinks. We were at kind of the main bar, just chatting it up. And at one point I left to go use the restroom. And when I came back, I saw that there was this girl now hanging out with my group of guy friends and just kind of chatting and making jokes and whatever. And, oh, okay. So I went over and I started chatting with them, and immediately I just started kind of like pouncing in with like stories and jokes and was like very expressive. And I could see the girl turn to one of her friends and I overheard her say, "I thought he was cute until he opened his mouth." And I could just tell that she wasn't talking about the specific things I was saying, but even more so about how I was saying it. And I could also feel a lot of my own shit get stirred up, a lot of my own shame, my own feeling like something was lacking. It's that kind of messaging that we get from the world around us, from society, that tells us there's only a really narrow, limited, specific way in which you're allowed to be, in which you're allowed to express yourself as a man that's okay. Anything other than that, not okay. That is toxic masculinity. Masculinity is just this like made up social construct that defines what it means to be a man. So things like how you look, like you don't wear makeup, you don't wear dresses, you keep it simple, you don't put too much effort into your appearance. Or how you act, things like you don't want to be too expressive or too emotional, right? You have to be kind of like aggressive and dominant and kind of rational and logical in your approach to things. What toxic masculinity says is that if you don't adhere to those specific ways of being a man, then you're doing it wrong. You're not man enough, you're inadequate. This is a totally bullshit social construct, meaning that society just kind of like defined how a man should be. And the reason for that is because it was just this kind of like primal urge to categorize people, throw people into two different boxes so that when we're approaching new people, we kind of know what to expect. The problem with this is that it's totally reductive. Like no human being is that limited, nor should we be. When we restrict how we look or act to just fit in and belong with everybody else, we're giving everyone else our power, and we're practicing a very specific kind of conditional love, not actual self-love that can help us feel more secure in who we are in a real way. For us as gay guys, this is like especially problematic because society kind of deems like the ultimate anti-masculine thing you can do as a man is to love and be intimate with another man. It's like, boom, automatically not enough, fuck. You know, and we do kind of like one of two things. We're either gonna hide it or we're gonna try to like overcompensate, just try to prove that we're kind of enough of a man and hope that maybe we can break even in other ways. Either strategy, all we're doing is continuing to keep this belief alive within us that says we're inherently damaged and broken and just wrong in ways that we kind of like stirred up, projected out on other gay men and can judge them and stay fearful of each other and then just stay disconnected when we need and want to have relationships with other gay men, but it makes it more challenging. And even more so, it really challenges the relationship we have with ourselves because it's keeping that belief that we're inadequate and we're not enough, we're not man enough. And then we don't actually feel more comfortable to get to express the wholeness of who we are. So what are some things that we can do to combat toxic masculinity? One is to just redefine strength to mean that we're going against the pressures of societal standards of what it means to be a man. That does take a lot of strength to do that. That is manly. After that, we can also just make sure that we have enough courage to feel, name, talk about whatever kind of emotions are coming up for us vulnerably. It takes a lot of courage to do that. Also, make sure that you cheer on and celebrate every queer person and queer expression out there, even when you kind of find yourself resisting it or maybe kind of sitting in some of your own judgment. Especially then, make sure that you resist that and still cheer them on and celebrate them, because when we can do that for other people, then we're also doing that for ourselves. And lastly, have fucking fun. Like put on a dress, paint your nails, put on heels, twirl around, do everything society tells you you're not supposed to do so that you can have a good time. It's fun, it's liberating. And like Bruce says, you're born naked, all the rest is drag.